Alberta in the 1980s began a decade marked by soaring hopes, sudden collapse, and a political legacy that still shapes the province today. Let's take a look at how Alberta's oil boom turned into a bust, and what it all meant for the province's future. The Alberta economy, boom to bust. In the early 1980s, Alberta was booming with oil profits. Oil prices climbed above $35 a barrel, and the province was bringing in record revenues. The government poured billions into infrastructure, building highways, expanding hospitals, and modernizing public services. By 1982, the Alberta Heritage Savings Trust Fund, created to safeguard resource wealth, had grown to over $12 billion. But the good times didn't last. By the mid-80s, global oil prices crashed below $10 a barrel. Revenues were slashed in half. Alberta's economy plunged into recession. Real estate collapsed. Unemployment surged. Business investment dried up. And by 1987, the province had stopped contributing to the Heritage Fund entirely, running budget deficits of over $2 billion a year. Adding fuel to the fire was Ottawa's National Energy Program, or NEP, introduced in 1980 by Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's Liberal government. The NEP redirected billions from oil companies in Alberta to federal coffers and other provinces. Between 1980 and 1985, Alberta lost an estimated $50 to $100 billion through lost royalties, suppressed oil prices, and divested investments. It was a defining moment in federal-provincial relations. Although NEP was ended in 1985, it sparked lasting resentment in the West. To many Albertans, it felt like their prosperity was being siphoned away. Just as the province was struggling with low oil prices, shrinking revenues, and federal policies that pulled money out of Alberta. During the boom, Alberta's population grew rapidly, especially in Calgary and Edmonton. Young workers flooded in from across Canada chasing jobs in oil and construction. But when the bust came, the trend reversed. People moved out, looking for work in BC, Ontario, and even the United States. Through all this, the Progressive Conservatives held power in Alberta. Premier Peter Lougheed, who led until 1985, was known for standing up to Ottawa and building Alberta's economic independence. He was succeeded by Don Getty, who inherited the downturn and the backlash. Under Getty, the government introduced subsidies and bailouts to stabilize the oil patch. Critics called it corporate welfare and cost Albertans hundreds of millions in lost revenue and income. In the boom years, oil and gas royalties made up nearly half of Alberta's provincial revenues, over $5 billion a year. But after the price collapse, royalties fell below $2 billion. To keep the industry afloat, the province introduced royalty holidays, direct grants, and incentives, shifting risk from corporations to taxpayers. Between 1982 and 1990, these subsidies cost Alberta an estimated $7 billion. Critics questioned why public money was used to support profitable energy companies. During the boom, Alberta had the highest wages in Canada. Unemployment fell below 4%, but by 1984, unemployment had climbed past 12%. Downtown Calgary saw a 30% vacancy rate in office space. Bankruptcies and foreclosures spiked. Many homeowners were underwater on their mortgages. The oil boom brought major investments in hospitals and schools. But in the bust years, budgets were slashed. Capital projects were canceled. Tuition rose by 25%. Staffing was cut for hospitals, colleges, and universities. The system, once flush with investment, entered a period of restraint and retreat. Despite it all, the 1980s left Alberta with real achievements. The Heritage Fund was a visionary tool. Roads, hospitals, and cities were transformed. But problems ran deep. Overdependence on oil corporate bailouts and rising debt, and a failure to meaningfully diversify while times were good. The 1980s weren't just about a boom and a bust. They kicked off a pattern that's still playing out today. What started as short-term bailouts and royalty breaks turned into long-term habits. Public money covering private industry losses. From subsidies to cleanup costs, Alberta taxpayers are still footing the bill. And the mistrust that started back then toward Ottawa hasn't gone away. Decisions made in the 80s didn't just shape that decade, they laid the foundation for the challenges Alberta faces to this day. For more videos, feel free to like, share, or subscribe.